I'm going to continue reading today. The last part that I was reading, it is not the eye that sees. Think of yourself as being a radio that can send and receive information. You are that radio station. You receive information and you broadcast it. Your eyes receives information, but it's not the only thing that receives information. Every cell in your body is acting the same way. Every cell basically has ears and eyes to receive information with. So you're getting vibes, you're getting a sense, your intuitive sense. The same as an animal that has hackles, you have the same thing going on, but you've been suppressed from knowing that. So when you see something with just your eyes are messing everything up because you're not able to see everything. You're getting information from every cell in your body. And your eyes just put light on an object, confusing you, making you think it's one thing. But if you can shut your eyes, that's why blind people see things differently than you. Anyway, that's a little bit about that concept that I wanted to touch on. I'll continue reading. This is borne out by the fact that you do not have to know to learn. Behavior is never dependent upon a single neuron. This process is almost identical to the information of physical oscillations in a vibrating system with two frequencies. Never heard of that. Mello and Sweeney, 1996. Okay, these are obviously people he's quoting. Oscillons, which I always pronounce things wrong. There's a good chance I'm pronouncing that wrong. Oscillons modulate and exist due to the unseen wavelet interactions of the two frequencies in the history of the system. Oscillons are the observable memory in the vibrating system. That memory is made up of a positive particle phase oscillon and a negative particle phase oscillon. The particle oscillon can be thought of as a figure, and the apparent noise oscillations around the oscillon of the background. One provides contents while the other provides content. It is just like a hologram. Notice that the memory consists of figure and ground, local and global, long-term potential, and a long-term desensation, short-term potential. It doesn't sound like potential. It doesn't look like potential, but it sure sounds like it. And the short desensitization, with all modulating in time. That's why I say read this book yourself, because my reading really sucks, but I'm giving it a good go, and clearly this morning I'm off to a rough start. Memory then is dependent upon reference frequencies. Stimulus overrides on that frequency from a sensory field, correlational opponent filters, oscillons creating by interaction wavelets by using neurotransmitters and evoke potential. This model of the quantum dilemma of particle and wave at the same time, all responding to a deep implicit order that I refer to as particle, wave, and holodynamic dimensions of consciousness. Venenzi and Caridi, 1997, the University of Kent at Canterbury in England, have written an interesting paper that relates to these issues. The paper concerns wavelet shrinkage techniques through orthogonal and linear wavelet transformations, which allow decomposition of the noise data into a set of wavelet coefficients, so that noise can be removed by shrinking the coefficient. Quantum computers are similar methods to form wavelets and oscillants and to reduce noise by simply dividing the information into oppositional halves. One half of the stimulus history interacts with current input data that forms a new history. Stable oscillants and wavelets of memory form from this interaction. Within the microtubules, these polarization into oppositional halves can be evidenced with the wall of the microtubule. The entire system is wrapped into a molecule tube made of 13 dimmer switches. As mentioned earlier, each dimmer is shaped like two kernels of corn hinged together on one side. The kernels, so to speak, can move. They have three valence states according to the quantum harmonics involved. When the hinge is open, the valence changes to positive. When the hinge is closed, the valence changes to negative. When it is in between, the valence becomes neutral. This provides a field effect capable of sorting and stabilizing information contained within the field. In other words, when you are able to receive information from other people, when you're able to receive information about any problem, could be health, could be global problems, government, financial, any problem whatsoever, when you're able to receive information, you're in the positive state. When you're sending out your conclusions, how you perceive it, then you're in a negative state. When you're neutral, you're not, you're not receiving or sending. You're neutral. You're non-existent. You're like doing nothing. There's no movement, there's no life, there's no love, there's no nothing. You're just in that neutral nothing state. So that's something to think about, is receive information. Constantly stay more positive than negative giving it out. And let's face it, I am posting this is me sending information. So then you receiving information from me is a positive thing, but it is your calculation. It is what you do with that information afterwards. It's something to think about. It's kind of deep. Not so sure passing out this information and putting out there is negative, but technically there's got to be a negative aspect out of that. But negative can be transformed into positive if we receive it. That's why I'm doing this more of a diary for me, because I think that's where it stays positive, is from my perspective. I post all of this for me. I reflect back on any videos that I put out there. This book is just good for me to read. To read it and put it on tape, do you think that this is not going to sink in my head a little bit more? So I'm not really doing it with the intention that anybody else hears me or does anything with it. I'm doing it for myself. So that's like when you live in your own little universe and you make your universal world happy, you also consider, okay, am I doing harm to anybody else? I don't think so. It's a YouTube channel. Don't look at it. You have to use your free will. You have to use control over your life. So I may be just an example of you listen or don't listen. But for me, I'm doing this just mostly for myself because I know my world will get better. And I did have somebody else sort of get offended when I said my world. But I think if we all took that perspective and looked at it as your world, make your world happy for you. And don't rely on me to make your world happy for you. And just like I won't rely on you to make my world happy. I will trust that my whole, the whole universe, everybody's world would be happy if we all worked on our own shit. So that's, maybe offensive. I do know that we're all this oneness. But within our oneness, we have to play out our own role. Anyways, I'll continue reading. Thus, the balance of the dimmers and the formation of maps, and for tape purposes, I forgot to turn this volume on, but okay. For the purpose of the recording on the, I forgot to put it on, so you've missed, a couple of paragraphs. Thus, the balance of the dimmers and the formation of maps, the biological correlates of cell division, neural responses, and all other forms of biological functions, including memory, thought, and feeling, are part of the multidimensional consciousness. Tissue and organs of the body take coherent form according to their quantum frequencies that are specific for each set of holodynes and resonate according to the information within the specific set of circumstances. The set of circumstances is registered by sensory input from the person's full range of information, input from the parallel world, and from the situation in space-time. Thus, every person has his own unique fingerprints, retina, design, lip prints, and so forth. Each person experiences the world differently. That's why I made that comment that it's my world, because it's how I perceive my world. And everybody's going to have a different perception. But in that one last paragraph, the biggest thing that I can see stands out is all of your organs, the tissue and organs of the body take coherent form according to the quantum frequencies. So they basically are proving that the shape and condition of every one of your organs is dependent on the frequency that you have inside you. The feeling of love has a frequency. It can be measured. The feeling of hate has another frequency, and that can be measured. It's like a song, a note. So whatever frequency is inside your body with whatever illness you have, mental illness, this is how this guy knows how to cure all of these diseases, is because you change frequencies. And that's why this bottled intentions works too, because it helps guide your thoughts, what you think about, and then what you force your body to feel changes the frequencies, which will change your actions, and your actions create your experiences. So it is all very, very relevant in how to change your life, how to cure every illness that you have, and how to solve every problem that you have. And globally, we're dealing with some massive challenges. So I'm going to stop this tape and start another one. And hopefully my reading will warm up and start getting a little better than today's start.